This video is for people who are stuck in the consumer paradigm, and for people who think that more stuff, more information, more material goods, more of anything will actually fill that gap and fill that void that you're looking for. I've been in that space for a number of years previous, and it's only when you really burn through that you actually come out the other end and sort of recognize it, because you can hear the words from people like myself saying, you don't need to buy more stuff, you don't need to consume more information, consume more content from other people. That's easy to just listen to, and it's a bit ironic as you probably listen to this on YouTube. But until, as I just said, until you actually go through that yourself, you don't actually realise it. It's not actually in your DNA and in your bones. It's just more repetition, more smoke and mirrors for people, more procrastination for people. You see, I went travelling a lot in my early to mid-20s, and what I realised was that I was actually trying to escape from myself, or escape from the situation in a subtle way, and sort of wrap that up in travel. And it sounds great, I'm traveling and whatnot, but you have to take yourself with you. There's a saying in Buddhism that you can go to the top of the mountain, but you have to take yourself to the top of the mountain as well. And when it comes to material riches and material wealth, all that is actually it's all on loan. None of it is actually yours. You don't own anything in the grand scheme of things. So what we are blessed with, the amount of money that we're blessed with, and the gifts, if it's not money, if it's something else that we're blessed with, we have to give that to people generously, because it's a gift to us in the first place. I'm fortunate that, there's multiple different ways of defining a millionaire, right? But technically speaking, based on my asset base and my liability column and stuff like that, I'm actually classed as a millionaire, right? And you wouldn't believe that, because my bank account never looks like that, and to me it doesn't mean anything, right? I know people sort of put it on a pedestal, but it's all nonsense really. And it wasn't until the more I had to put an outward show on, generally speaking, the more broke I was. So all these people that you see all over social media, driving Lamborghinis and all that, most of these people, not all, definitely not all, but a lot of them are completely empty and void inside, trying to make a point about their level of self-worth, and they've sort of tied that self-worth to their net worth. And if they lost that net worth like that, their self-worth would completely dissipate as well. So you have to recognise within yourself, if you think that what you own, which you don't own, it's just on loan, because you can't take it with you to the grave. If you are owned by that, if you are owned by what you think you are worth financially, you're in for a rough ride, you're in for a tough one, because money comes and goes. You'll have I make deals on a weekly basis with some big numbers, relatively speaking, small if I spoke to certain people, but big to the average person. And if 2 or 3 of those deals a month go south, I could lose everything I've built over the last 10 years or so. Now that, because of my worldview, that would, although it would sort of shake my foundations, it wouldn't make me feel less of a human being, because I wouldn't have as many numbers in a bank account. In fact, I'd see it as a lesson, a life lesson to evolve and adapt and sort of become more wise and things like that. That's how I'd see these things. And that's took years to develop that sort of worldview and that level of thinking. And that's not from a big-headed place or anything. It's just that the more that you study and read, and the more experiences you try and put yourself through in life, the more you sort of have a more expanded worldview. Everything is seen as actually happening for you to make life better in a holistic sense. You actually can get to that point. So even the hardships, even the suffering that you go through, they end up being of benefit to you and to the world, rather than being consumed by that suffering and from that fear, because that's what a lot of people are. That's what a lot of depression and anxiety is. So tying your net worth to your self-worth is a trap, and it's very easy to do in the materialistic paradigm that we're in. Some of the best people I know, wisest people I know as well, haven't got much money at all. They don't value it the same way as like a business person would. They'd rather just work 2 or 3 days in a cafe and spend most of their time in nature, right? Something like that. I know guys who go to the local temples, the local Buddhist temples and stuff, and I know guys who work with plant medicine, and guys who run men's retreats and men's groups. And these guys, you can hold conversations on anything with these people, some of them, and they're genuinely curious and interested in different worldviews and in what other people are doing and how they're interacting with the world. And these people are far wiser than the average, business person, right? If someone's made themselves a few million quid, it's like, all right, great, well done on your success, in that area of life. But let's talk about everything else. And that isn't to say at all, by the way, that don't go after it, because I'm the first one to say grab life by the scruff of the neck and go after your dreams and your desires and all that stuff. You do tend to find that they do burn out, though. You do start questioning why you're doing what you're doing. If it's all for just the money, because I've been there as well, you do it just for the money. You need a bigger picture than that. You need something more holistic and deeper that has a sense of meaning, because money in itself has no meaning other than what money can do. And if you don't have a big enough reason about where that money is going and what it can do, then, and how it can create for you, then it's just as shallow as everything else. And there's a saying that says, some people are so broke, all they've got is money, right? And this is a truism. This is a truism. There's a lot of people out there, but from my experience, and the people that I try and surround myself with, some of the best people I've found as well are very well off. So money in itself has no quality. It's what you tend to do with it and what you build with it and what you create with it. That is the important thing, and how people value their values, and what they value in the world is they use money to surround themselves with more of that and to build more of that. So if you see people hoarding cash and just keeping it all in a bank account for the sake of just keeping it in a bank account and look good, they're probably people you don't want to be surrounding yourself with. First, they don't understand what money is, regardless of how much they've got. You don't find many billionaires who aren't philanthropists and putting the money to good work. So yeah, hope that helped.